Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner. Unfiltered commentary. And not your truth, the real truth. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for your support. Hi, folks. Welcome back. From PJ Media. Seattle Antifa hate group threatens to burn down church over event with Charlie Kirk. I don't know how the hell these people get away with it. Mob rule. I don't agree with everything Charlie Kirk says, the vast majority, but not everything. He's got a right to be there. Let's read on. A pull-up Washington church has canceled an event featuring conservative speaker Charlie Kirk after Antifa activists threatened to burn down all of its buildings and torch the neighbor's property too. Jesus. I don't know how these guys got that kind of power. They just let them do it. Just let them do it. I'd hate to like hell to pay property taxes in Portland or any other city in Washington. Or Oregon, for that matter. It's ridiculous. So at the same time, they're saying, oh, police are bad, let's get rid of them. And now we have terrorist groups threatening to burn down churches and all the buildings around it. So that way they can't say, well, it's only going to be us that's at risk. Well, it's going to be all the neighbors. Motion Church planned an event with Kirk, the head of the Turning Point USA and a Christian speaker, on May 2nd. Oh, he's a Christian. Oh, a Christian speaking at a church. What a freaking concept. The church in a community south of Seattle ministers to the homeless, lost, and addicted people in addition to hosting regular services and events of the church for families and those seeking to know Christ more. Let's see. Oh, First Amendment stuff. They don't give a good damn about any of that. These useful idiots to the Democrats, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, and all the rest, are now embarrassing the Democrat Party. They use these lunatics to basically cause chaos in the country. And when you add COVID on top of it last year, it made the election a giant cluster blank. I'm not saying there was fraud. I'm not saying there wasn't. What I'm saying is they just use these people to cause chaos. In a presidential election year, chaos and turmoil always goes against the incumbent, whether it's his fault or not. And don't get all freaked out when I said his fault, because so far every single president's been male. Well, that's because of misogyny, John. Bullshit. The people get to decide. Even women running for president in the past, the Democrat Party, they can't get any traction from their own Democrat women, so let's cut through the crap. Oh, God. But hosting Charlie Kirk was just a bridge too far for the Antifa terror group, and they are. They should be on the terror group list. I'm not sure if they are now or not. I think they were under Trump. On Friday, Motion Church pastor Roger Archer posted a video announcing he was being forced to cancel the May 3rd event because the soft targets of churches, the elderly, women, and children, and law-abiding citizens are vulnerable to anarchists who live free or fear of reprisal. The cops don't have the manpower to protect the several property used by the church. Here's the answer to that. The Second Amendment. The right to bear arms shall not be abridged. I'll say it slowly. The right to bear arms shall not be abridged. You want to come down and try to kill me, burn my building and burn the buildings around it with people in them and burn them alive, it's going to cost you the ultimate price. Very simple solution. Very simple. KTTH Radio had a tweet developing Antifa radicals from Seattle threatened to burn a church and harm staff after learning Charlie Kirk was going to speak in Washington. The event was canceled under the threat of violence, and the pastor had a little video there. It's unclear how the terror threats were communicated to the church leadership, but Pastor Archer said the fact that the cops don't have the manpower to help and the governor doesn't have the political will to fight back means the church would have been left to the Antifa arsonists and vandals of Antifa and BLM. What a state of affairs. Again, the solution of this, the Second Amendment. The right to bear arms shall not be infringed. And then it has, well, here's the Shannon, and it has her he, she pronouns. Oh, great. At Shannon Rants. Well, this is accurate. Charlie Kirk and his racism will be speaking at the Motion Church in South Hill. Pull up on 5-2. Black Lives Matter, Project Lincoln, Media's Touch LGBTQ. Help us shut this Nazi down, please. Yeah, okay. And there's a church there and the surrounding businesses. It's in the video. Archer said the threats target not just the church properties, but the homes and properties around them. Radical terrorist mobs like the ones who riot in Seattle City, capital city, they sprung into action. They sprung with threatening declarations. They vowed not only to burn our properties to the ground, but they also brought threats of physical threats against our church leadership, our neighbors, their property, and basically wreak havoc on our community, this community that we love. I'm sitting here wondering what to do. What recent history has taught us there's an apparent lack of interest at the state level of leadership to protect decent tax-paying citizens. Those terrorist mobs know there is no consequence for their lawlessness. They have nothing to lose and nothing to fear. Ultimately, the church had to rescind the offer to speak. Therefore, for the safety of my precious city and our precious church people, that I have heartbreakingly canceled our event with Mr. Kirk. Our deepest apologies go out to Mr. Kirk and his organizer or in his organization. He deserves much better from our state leadership, but unfortunately, this is where we are. I will not put soft targets in harm's way. I will not subject our community to destruction, and since our governor will not protect us, we must take this course of action. This is a sad commentary of the state's state of affairs. However, this only makes me more determined to love and lead our community in new and creative ways. I want you to remember this, Motion Church. Love always wins. So does voting. After enduring nearly a year of protests, freeway blockages, fires, takeovers, and threats, it seems Washington's political class is incapable of standing against the domestic terrorists of Antifa and BLM. Because these mental pygmies, these progressive Democrats, needed BLM, Antifa as useful idiots that caused chaos in the country last year in a presidential and a congressional election year. Period. And they just thought, well, guys, the Democrats took over. You can stop now. No, they're not going to stop. They're never going to stop until they're put down. PJ Media reached out to both Kirk and Motion Church for comment. And then it has a little request there. If you go to pjmedia.com, it's a really good site, by the way. And Victoria Taft there, you see, she's a really good journalist. Her book, Mocking Antifa, will be out this year. I hope it does really well. Good for her. And you have her Facebook and, you know, all her connections on Facebook and all their social media sites. And so you punch in VictoriaTaft.com. She's on Parler, MeWe, Minds, Locals, Twitter, and Facebook. Now, I'm going to be wrapping up my channel probably in another month and a half. I've sold my business. So I'm going to be branching out on a lot of what she's on. Parler, MeWe, Minds, Rumble, Twitter and Facebook. I might go back to Twitter and Facebook. I'll get thrown off immediately. I'll probably try Instagram, even though I'll probably get thrown off of there too. Maybe wear it with a badge of honor. Maybe I'll get a T-shirt made. I got thrown off of Facebook if that happens. Anyway, there it is, folks. What are we to do? honestly and truly. We just let these people burn themselves out and the American people wake up, or we defend our constitutional rights. Constitutional right, freedom of religion, freedom of assembly. You know, at one time, years and years ago, the ACLU defended Nazis. I forget, I think it was in the Midwest somewhere. They got a permit to have a speech or a demonstration for them in a park somewhere. I forgot where it was. And, of course, everybody freaked out because they're Nazis, literal Nazis, with swastika flags and the worst. And by me saying Nazi in this video 2 or 3 times, it'll probably get shadow banned, but I don't care. I'm not mentioning words anymore. I can see maybe the strong language, the F word, stuff like that. Okay, I'll give them that. But the word Nazi, when they are Nazis, isn't a bad word. Anyway, the ACLU went to court, and they defended them. Because you have to understand something. If the Constitution, the First Amendment, Second Amendment, and the rest of the amendments in the Constitution protect the biggest pieces of crap that we have in this country, it protects us all. That is the truth, and that is the way it should be. If ANTIFA wants to have a demonstration without violence, which they can't do, it's impossible. Same with BLM. Can you imagine early last year when BLM protests started really ramping up? Can you imagine there was, 400,000 people at the rally on January 6th? And then, of course, those few hundred asshats pulled that stupidity. But that's a different issue. Can you imagine if BLM put together a protest at the Washington Monument, at the pool there, I forget what they call it, where Dr. King spoke? 500,000, they would have got a ton. 500,000 plus, all there, all peaceful. Not even a fist fight. Not even a swear word thrown. The whole world would have been incredibly impressed. But no, not these mental pygmies. They have to take their hate and their anger, which is pointing in the wrong direction, I might add, because of a lot of the minorities, non-white people in this country get screwed over by progressive Democrats. They're just too blind with anger and hatred to notice. Hopefully they'll wise up before it's too late. Can you imagine if over 500,000 were there chanting and singing? My God, it would have been one of the biggest peaceful marches since Gandhi in the 1940s in India. That would have got the attention of the whole world. And everybody would have said, okay, you know what? Maybe we have a problem. Let's see if we can work on it together. But no, they couldn't do that. And the Democrats didn't want them to do that either, believe it or not. It's not their best interest. Chaos is their friend. And with all the chaos and all the rioting and all the billions of dollars worth of destruction on buildings and products and these stores, these small businesses, many privately owned, many owned by minorities, after all that destruction, and with all the finagling around with the mail-in ballots, I'm not saying they were legal or illegal, and after all of that, and after the entire cable mainstream media, 95% of it, anti-Trump, morning, noon, and night, all the social media censoring everything they didn't like, they still barely beat Trump in the Electoral College. Think about that for a minute. They know they're doomed. And like a wounded animal, we'll say a dinosaur. That's the biggest animal I can think of that ever lived on Earth. Like a wounded dinosaur, a wounded elephant. It lashes out in its death throes. But what destruction and mayhem is going to cause before they eventually collapse is anybody's guess. To you folks out there, I'm not condoning violence. I'm not condoning hurting other people. But remember the Second Amendment. The right to bear arms should not be infringed. Until the next time, folks, goodbye and good luck.